Stop worrying. It makes you weak and predictable. That's exactly how they get you. Not with power, not with strength, but by watching you hesitate, by watching you doubt. Machiavelli said, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand." Everyone can see you worrying. Few can feel what it costs you. You think it's harmless, replaying what went wrong, what might go wrong, what they might think. But that's how you lose. That's how you hand over control before the game even begins. Worry is not thought. It's fear pretending to be logic. It's your mind trying to build a future out of ghosts. And every time you give it your attention, you drain the fuel that was meant for action. That's why the calm man always wins. He moves while you're still analyzing. He acts while you're still imagining. He looks composed because he is. He's decided that uncertainty doesn't deserve his energy, and that decision alone makes him powerful. You think your overthinking is intelligence. It's not. It's hesitation dressed as reason. Machiavelli would have called it the peasant's disease, the illusion that safety comes from caution. It doesn't. Safety comes from control, and control comes from emotional discipline. You can't control the storm, but you can control how you walk through it. That's what separates rulers from subjects. The ruler acts, the subject reacts. Listen, every time you worry, you tell the world, "I don't trust myself." That's why life keeps testing you. It's not punishing you. It's checking if you're ready to stop flinching. Fortune, Machiavelli wrote, favors the bold. But boldness isn't recklessness. It's refusing to bow to uncertainty. The world bends for the man who moves without waiting for permission. You want proof before you act. You want guarantees before you risk. You'll wait forever. Machiavelli knew this. The world rewards those who decide first and correct later. He who hesitates, he said, is lost. You hesitate because you're afraid to lose. He acted because he knew every loss taught him faster than paralysis ever could. That's the difference between those who rise and those who rot. The powerful don't need certainty. They create it. They move, and certainty forms around them like armor. The warrior waits for signs. The ruler makes them. You think control comes from knowing every variable. It doesn't. It comes from knowing yourself, from understanding that your emotions are tools, not masters. You think worry shows care. It doesn't. It shows weakness. It shows the world exactly where to hit you. Every fear you rehearse in your head is a map for someone else's manipulation. And they'll use it. The charming ones, the calm ones, the ones who never flinch. They're not lucky. They're deliberate. They've mastered silence. You, on the other hand, keep explaining yourself, trying to fix everything before it even breaks. Stop doing that. Power doesn't explain. Power moves in silence. Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does at last." That's why the world bends to him. He doesn't ask, "What if I'm wrong?" He asks, "What happens if I wait too long?" Worry is wasted imagination. You build nightmares instead of strategies. Every what if could have been a plan, a move, a step. But instead you feed the fire that burns your focus. You scroll, you pace, you talk to people who know even less than you, asking for reassurance. Stop. The moment you need reassurance, you've already surrendered your power. If you want to see how strong someone is, watch how they behave in uncertainty. Weak minds panic. Strong minds plan. Great minds wait. That's the hierarchy. When you stop worrying, you stop reacting. You start choosing. You start seeing the world as patterns instead of problems. Machiavelli saw that centuries ago. That's why he survived every betrayal, every downfall. He knew that worry exposes your desperation, and desperation invites attack. Think about the calmest man you've ever met, the one who doesn't rush, doesn't beg, doesn't explain. That man owns the room, not because he's loud, but because he's unshakable. His silence becomes gravity. People orbit around it. That's power. And it starts when you stop letting fear run your mouth. You think you can't stop worrying because you care. No. You worry because you crave control. But control doesn't come from interference. It comes from composure. The world is not chaos. It's a mirror. If you panic, it multiplies your panic. If you stay calm, it bends to your stillness. Pause. Breathe. Look around. Everything that truly worked out in your life, did it happen because you forced it, or because you moved with precision when the time was right? You already know the answer. You keep checking the soil every hour, wondering why nothing's growing. Stop digging up your seeds. Let them breathe. Let time work for you, not against you. Worry doesn't protect you. It punishes you in advance. You suffer before anything even happens. That's not strategy. That's self-destruction. Machiavelli would laugh at that. He'd say, "Men are so simple, so obedient to necessity, that he who deceives will always find someone who lets himself be deceived." Worry deceives you. It makes you obedient to fear. Here's the truth. You'll never predict the future, but you can prepare for it. The difference is simple. Preparation builds strength. Prediction builds anxiety. Preparation says, whatever comes, I'll handle it. Prediction says, I must control it. One makes you powerful. The other makes you a slave. When chaos hits, don't ask, why me? Ask, what does this reveal? That's how strategists think. That's how rulers think. Every setback is intelligence. Every obstacle is a map. Life isn't trying to break you. It's trying to train you. But you can't see that through the fog of worry. Let me tell you something brutal. You are not entitled to comfort. You are entitled to adaptation. That's it. Worry is what happens when you mistake comfort for control. You think if you just think long enough, you'll find certainty. You won't. Certainty doesn't come from thought. It comes from presence. When you stop worrying, people notice. They feel it. Your tone changes. Your face stops twitching for validation. Your movements slow down. You stop trying to prove and start to project. That's composure, not numbness, precision. You start caring about results, not noise. You act when it matters, not when you're scared. And here's the paradox. When you stop worrying, everything starts working. Not because magic happens, but because you stopped resisting the rhythm. Power loves stillness. Fortune loves boldness. Life loves momentum. You create all three when you stop trying to control everything you can't. If this is hitting you, if you feel that part of you waking up, the part that knows you've been wasting power on worry, then stop scrolling. Take 1 second and like this video. Anchor this moment. Because the second you start mastering stillness, you stop bleeding energy into fear, and that's where your rise begins. Back to it. Machiavelli taught rulers to appear calm even when their world was on fire. Why? Because panic spreads faster than truth. The man who stays composed shapes the narrative. That's why worry kills leaders. It's contagious. People take their cue from your energy. Show fear, and they lose faith. Show calm, and they'll follow you into hell. Worry is the most visible form of weakness. It's an open wound. You might as well wear a sign saying, "Manipulate me," because that's what predators look for. The tremor, the darting eyes, the desperate words. Don't give them that. Your composure is armor. You can't fake it. You earn it. You earn it by letting uncertainty burn through you without reacting, by sitting through discomfort without trying to escape. Every time you refuse to panic, you forge steel where others melt. That's why calmness isn't softness. It's command. The calm man looks cruel to the emotional. They think he doesn't care. They're wrong. He cares differently. He cares with clarity. He's learned that emotion without direction is chaos, and chaos kills kingdoms. When you stop worrying, you stop chasing. Opportunities stop running. People start respecting you. They sense you don't need anything from them, and that's what makes them want to give. Need repels. Composure attracts. Worry says, I need proof. Power says, I'll make proof. That's the gap between victim and strategist. One begs for guarantees, the other builds them. Machiavelli knew that fortune, that unpredictable storm, only respects those who meet her with confidence. Fortune, he wrote, is a woman, and it is necessary, if you wish to master her, to conquer her by force. That's not aggression. That's energy. That's dominance of fear. You want to master fortune? Stop worrying about how she moves. Move first. Lead the rhythm. Fortune rewards those who act like they expect victory, even when the odds are chaos, especially then. Every time you stop yourself from spiraling, you create space. Space for strategy, for patience, for clarity. That's where real intelligence lives, in the gap between reaction and response. That gap is where power hides. Think about it. When was the last time panic made you stronger? Never. It made you sloppy, emotional, talkative. It made you show your hand too soon. Panic makes you loud. Power makes you quiet. The calm ones always seem to know. They don't. They just refuse to panic long enough for everyone else to reveal their cards. That's the secret. You don't need to outsmart everyone. You just need to outweight them. Patience is a weapon. Delay is strategy. Silence is power. Machiavelli said, "It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. Let them think you're uncertain. Let them talk. Let them expose themselves. While they panic, you prepare." You see, worry is self-centered. It's ego pretending to be caution. You think everything depends on you. It doesn't. You just need to be ready when the door opens, not before. The anxious check the door every 5 seconds. The powerful sit in silence and hear the knock before anyone else. Stop measuring your progress by anxiety. It's not proof of care. It's proof of control slipping. Real control is invisible. It looks like patience. It feels like peace. It's when people expect you to break and you smile instead. That's the smile of someone who already decided they'll win, even if they have to crawl through fire to do it. Let them underestimate your silence. Let them mistake your calm for weakness. It's the oldest strategy there is. They'll reveal everything trying to break you. Meanwhile, you'll be gathering intelligence. The calm man always walks away with the map. You want to know what Machiavelli would tell you right now? He'd say this: never reveal disturbance, because the moment you do, your enemies know where to strike. Every time you worry in public, every rant, every overreaction, every emotional post, you broadcast your soft spots. Stop it. Don't show them where to aim. Worry doesn't solve problems. It multiplies them. Every time you panic, you create new fires, trying to put out the old one. You talk too much, decide too soon, promise too easily. Then you spend weeks fixing what silence could have prevented. Power is not about knowing what to do. It's about knowing when not to. That's the line between chaos and control. Restraint. Worry makes you impulsive. Composure makes you deliberate. One burns energy, the other accumulates it. And when that energy builds, people feel it. They can't name it, but they respect it. You want to rule your world? Start by ruling your mind. Because the kingdom inside always dictates the one outside. If you can't control your thoughts, someone else will. The advertisers, the critics, the manipulator, the friend who calls you just to talk, but really just unloads fear into your ear. You have to protect your mental borders like a fortress. You do that by refusing to host worry. When fear knocks, don't let it in for tea. Acknowledge it, learn from it, then shut the door. Every worry you entertain becomes a soldier against your focus. Dismiss them. The calm mind sees what the frantic one misses. Patterns, timing, openings. That's why stillness wins wars, not speed, stillness. The calm general commands armies while the anxious soldier trips over his sword. If this spoke to you, if you felt that quiet shift inside, that moment when the noise stopped for a second, don't lose it. Save this. Share it. Because the next time your mind tries to drag you back into the storm, you'll need to remember this truth. Calmness is control, clarity is dominance, and silence is victory. The world doesn't reward the loudest man. It rewards the most composed. The one who acts last, but acts right. The one who looks like he already knows, because he does. He knows that worry is weakness, that fortune bends to those who stand still long enough to see her next move. So stop worrying, stop rehearsing disaster, stop leaking power through fear. Let the world burn. You stay calm, because when the smoke clears, the man still standing, he's the one who ruled it all along.